For Complex News, I'm Pierce Simpson. I'm joined here by former Super Bowl champion, linebacker and NFL Brandon Marshall. If you remember, Brandon is one of the first players to peacefully protest and bring light to social injustice in the NFL alongside Colin Kaepernick. Brandon, how you feeling, sir?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm feeling good, man. Can't complain. I appreciate you joining us to chop it up with everything going on. You seem to be one of the perfect people to have a conversation about just the climate of America in general and how sports intertwines with that. So back in 2017, you peacefully protested on the sidelines as a member of the Denver Broncos. Walk me through before you decided to do it. Was there any nerves on your part? Were you curious about what the backlash might be? What was your mindset?
Yeah, it was actually started in 2016. That was my first doing it, and it was definitely nerves because I knew the potential backlash. I knew what could happen because Kaep did it first, right? Yeah. Kaep did it first, and as he was going, and people was, there was tongue lashing him, right? It was going crazy on him, and so I watched his interview, and he spoke really well about the various issues, not even just unarmed black men being killed, but how they treat vets when they come back to this country, and when they're done with the military, and I really agree with him. And so the night before the first game, I really had time to marinate it for like a week and a half. Yeah. From the last preseason game to the first game, and I was like, you know what? I got to the point. I was studying my plays, and then I put my plays down, and I got to the point where I was like, you know what? If I don't do this, I'll be doing myself a disservice. Right. Because I really feel like I have responsibility, to do what I believe in and to speak for those whose voice isn't as loud as mine. Sure. So, it was definitely nerves. And when I got on that field, it was a Thursday night game, and I got on that field, and it was 80,000 fans, and I stood up to the far right, and I took that knee, and all them cameras came right at me. Right. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. My heart was beating like rapid.
I can imagine. I'm sure that you probably felt more nervous for that than maybe playing in the Super Bowl or playing before your first game.
Oh yeah, because it was going all the way against the grain. It was something that nobody was doing. Only a few was doing it, and people hold this flag so precious in their eyes. So I knew I was going to rock the boat.
How did it affect you personally? Was there any moments where you might have regretted it? Was there any moments where you kind of got down? How did you feel personally?
I think what affected me the most was probably that letter that I got. That letter that is a crazy letter. It starts off crazy, It actually starts off, I think I remember saying, Brandon, you're a great player, not, I hate you. Then it started going crazy, calling me all kind of racial slurs, and it was wild. On the back of the letter, it was like, we're gonna put you in a wheelchair, watch your back. I wasn't shook, but I was just like, damn, like this is where we at. People think, I know some people believe that racism is gone or it doesn't exist, but you don't know what it's like to be a person of color in this country. Then you won't really understand.
Exactly. And I'm sure for you were conflicted because you're like, okay, I'm sure at some point you rooted for me on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays, but as soon as I take off that jersey and say what's affecting my people, all of a sudden I'm these hateful things, which is a crazy situation to be in. I also think that it's interesting from a player's perspective because some of your peers are reaching out and saying, damn, I should have stuck with you, Brandon. I should have actually knelt with you. How does that feel for you? Is that a weird feeling? Like, what's that feeling like?
Yeah, I mean, it don't make me feel good. It's just like and I get it because, some people, look, a lot of people in the NFL, don't really care about a lot of stuff other than, playing ball and getting a paycheck, and that's just my experience from being in locker rooms for 7-8 years, right? Mm-hmm. So, a lot of people don't want to rock the boat. I've had people come up to me during that season and was like, look, B, I want to kneel with you, but I want to practice squad. And I get it, you know what I'm saying? And I was one of the type, I've never asked anybody to kneel with me. I never was going to somebody like, yo, let's do this. Nah, like, to me, I'm comfortable with standing on my own too, in the midst of chaos, right? And so I don't need somebody to be with me. But if they decided to, then more power to them, And so I get why some guys didn't want to, I just had signed a new contract. So, they probably weren't gonna do nothing to me at that moment anyway. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, guys reached out, and it's cool. You know, I appreciate the message, but you know.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, because you had to take the brunt of it. You had to take all the backlash. You had to take all the things, and now it seems like it's very convenient to kind of do the bare minimum after the fact. Because Brandon, if I'm not mistaken, during that time too, you were meeting with the police chief of Denver to try and find reform and find different things to do. For my question to you, there's a lot of issues with the Players Coalition in the NFL, and you hear a lot of different things of why it doesn't work, why players don't really rock with it. In your opinion, what's maybe the flaws of the Players Coalition? Because it seemed like to be a controversial topic to you.
Right, you know, and I was actually invited to one of the meetings in New York, but I think I got back to the guy a little too late, so you know they already had the meeting. I couldn't attend it. And I know it was some beef between Eric Reed and Malcolm Jenkins, and I'm not even sure what really happened, to be honest with you. So I can't really speak on the coalition, but I do know it's I think some people feel like it's different agendas. I know Eric Reed probably feels like the NFL just wants to throw money at us to get us to shut up, right? Or back then that's what they wanted to do, just throw money at us. And Malcolm was cool with taking the money, apparently. I'm not sure, but so I guess it was issues on with them two. There was button heads, and some people agreed, some people didn't, and so we was just divided. That was the problem. We was divided. We wasn't a unified front, and that's what you have to be. And I think the NFL knows this, man. They know we're not a unified front all the way around, and so they probably was talking to somebody on the side, on the side, like, yo, let's do this, whatever. No, we got to be together on this shit. Everybody needs to be on one accord, needs to be in one group chat, and everybody needs to be on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, that's spot on, because even down to the CBA, a lot of times there's never a unified front, and there's always this bickering. There's always a back and forth, and at the end of the day, the players always lose out. That's just
always lose out. Always, man. And it's people just willing to take, almost like they just want to take whatever, you know. And I was just really disappointed in all those people that didn't vote for the CBA. Which is unfortunate. You have a voice. We could vote. We have the power, right? We have the power, but we're not really exercising the power because we're not a unified front. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. When you were protesting, right? A year later, John Elway, arguably the most powerful Bronco of all time in that franchise's history, used official Broncos letterhead to endorse a senator for the Supreme Court. Nobody told him to stick to sports and not blur politics and sports. Do you think that because you're a black athlete and decided to make your voice known, that it became an issue?
Absolutely, man. I do believe that. He's an older, white executive, within an organization, and I'm a young black athlete, and that the whole shut up and dribble notion is real, and they truly feel like that, and they truly feel like, oh, we shouldn't have an opinion, or like we're robots. All we need to do is play football. We should be working out all the time, training all the time. Like, we don't have other interests. We don't have real feelings about situations. And the thing about it is, like, we do have a platform, right? Especially with social media nowadays. We speak on these things. You see LeBron speaking on it all the time. I'm just younger and I'm black. You know what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate, man, but that's how they think of us in society.
Whenever you see the NFL take the stance that they're taking now, talking about donating, I believe, $250 million over the next 10 years to social justice reform, do you feel like that's a step in the right direction, or do you feel like they should do more?
I guess it is a step in the right direction, but I just want to know, where's it going?
Right.
Like, where's this money going, and what is it truly doing? I think the easiest thing to do when you have money is just to throw it at a situation, right? We all throw money when we have it at a situation, but I think we just need to be more resourceful, because it could be a facade, right? They could throw money and it's cool, that's good, but the real impact is, like when you break something down and you say, okay, this is what we're doing, this is where it's going, and these are the next steps we're going to take over the next 10 years to provide real change. So, did you feel dehumanized in any way during your time in the league? And was there any times where you thought to yourself, like, damn, I don't even feel like I'm an employer, I feel like I'm just a product guy? Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely, man. Somebody broke it down to me. It's like, we're no better than this remote right here. You know, And once we're working, it's all good. But but once it break down, once the battery, okay, we're gonna find a new one. We're gonna find a new remote. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I knew, at least I tried to, because the thing about it is, we love the game, right? So when you love something, your emotions are into it. Right. So when you get dehumanized, right, you feel it, and a lot of guys lash out, and a lot of guys get depressed, to be honest with you, because of the treatment of players, and they know we're just disposable, right? But we're humans as well. So I tried to take that aspect out of it, and I tried to just like use the NFL for all the resources I can, and get the money, the connections I can. A lot of us get left in the dust, man, and it leaves us feeling some type of way. Absolutely. So it's been times where I felt like that, especially around the time I was taking a knee, and then when I got hurt, right? Then they make you feel like that when you hurt, and then it's just your whole career, really.
Yeah, because I've just been a fan for you for a minute, been watching you. I didn't really understand how you went to Oakland, how they treat you, and I'm like, y'all don't even have no linebackers to begin with. This is the best linebacker y'all got. So why are y'all? What's going on? For sure.
I do believe that there are teams that want to stay away from me. Even last year or 2 years ago, I think it was last year when I was a free agent. Mm-hmm. People wanted to stay. I believe that. And my agent even told me that. He's like, yeah, I think that has something to do with it, B, because there's no reason with your resume that you shouldn't be going in more interest, even though you did get hurt, right? You still have a really good resume. Mm-hmm. A team to say, you know what, let's take him. Right. And so it just wasn't that interest, and it took a while. Then Oakland just came with it. So I think that's me taking the knee, and my political stance was definitely a reason why some teams have stayed away from me.
Yeah, I can certainly imagine. I know that's a tough thing to try to cope with, because you're like, damn, I know I can play at this level, and the fact that I'm not getting a fair shake has to be frustrating as hell. When you see owners that haven't come out and said anything, does that surprise you at all?
I think they don't want to rock the boat with their buddies, with people in their circles, and the donors, right? They don't want to rock it, so it doesn't surprise me. I saw somebody on Twitter going off about Jerry Jones not speaking, but that don't surprise me that they haven't said anything. It's just, I never expected them to say anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So like, let's say hypothetically you were a player on that team. What do you think the conversation becomes? Do you think that's a group chat where you're like, yo, he ain't saying anything yet? Or do you even think about the owners when you're in the NFL? How's that dynamic?
I mean, we do, but it's almost like we know that they don't really care too much about the issues that we really care about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, we have certain things we really care about, and we know that's kind of like either beneath them or it's not really in their scope of things. So that's another way we get dehumanized, because it's like, all their issues, we don't really, it's not big issues. It's not issues to us. We don't really care about, what they really care about. But if they did come out and say it, it would make us feel even better. We'd be proud, even more proud to play for that particular organization. Right. If they did speak on it, yes, we're happy that our coaches, if Coach, Brian Flores spoke, that's dope, man. It makes the players want to play for him.
Absolutely.
And it makes them want to play for them. And we get excited because, what I think 60 or 70% of the NFL is, Black, right? So, or minority, but it don't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah. If organizations would realize that guys like Brian Flores can easily relate to the players out on the field, chances are you're gonna have a better product on that field, make more money and more titles. But I don't know why they just can't see it.
Yeah. It's been times where I had coaches I really want to play for. I'm like, I want to play for this guy. You know what I'm saying? And exactly, that's how it is.
Yeah, it's like you said, they forget y'all are human at the end of the day and have emotional connections to people. So it's crazy how they just don't see that. Colin Kaepernick, it's somebody you went to college with, if I'm not mistaken, right? You mentioned y'all known each other since you were 17. Two-part question.
Fraternity.
Really? Okay, there we go. What's your fraternity?
Kappa Alpha Psi.
Okay, I thought you was about to say Q, and I'm like, "Ooh, thank you. I appreciate that. You go to that parking all the time." But how have you seen Colin grow in the time that you've known him? Has he always been somebody that's been at the forefront of social injustice, or has this been something he's grown into?
This is something he's grown into. Cap has always been a leader, though. I would say that he's always been a leader. He's always been somebody who organized the 7-on-7s in college, who was straight A student, man. Kaep is smart, right? And was always one of the guys who was in the front when we did sprints, right? Kaep is fast, you know. So he was always a hard worker. He was always smart, and he was always talented. And so I saw as the years went on, how his leadership has evolved. And then for me to see him do this, I was kind of shocked though. I was like, oh wow, this is different. Yeah. But Kaep has always been that guy, who's going to lead, take the charge, or take the lead on something, and do what he feels is right. So, for Kaep to be this mogul right now is not surprising to me.
Yeah, when those initial conversations happened and he was kind of giving you game on his idea of peacefully protesting, I assume he was very convincing in telling you what he was planning. What was that early conversation like between you and Kaep? Was it just
we didn't even have a conversation? Huh? We didn't even have a conversation.
Really?
So I literally saw. So what happened was I saw his interview in the locker room. Mm-hmm. I was on the plane coming back from the preseason game. He was playing the Cardinals, and I saw his speech. To the reporters, and I was like, "Yo, it's like planting a seed."
Right.
That was the first seed that got planted in me, and I was like, "Oh man," And so I didn't even talk to him because I didn't want anybody's influence. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I wanted to make my own decision. I didn't want to talk to him. He's like, yeah, you know what? I wanted to make my own decision. And so I decided by myself to kneel because I really felt convicted by what he said. And it was true as I started to think about it and dive deeper into it. And then I didn't talk to Kaep because me and Kaep hadn't talked at that point for a while. And I didn't talk to Kaep till after the second game, till the second time I kneeled. And that's when we finally talked on the phone and we finally, got in touch and, how he feels about everything. And we had a good, productive conversation, but he was actually very grateful and very, happy to have his brother stick with him, his frat brother, his line brother at that as well, to have me have his back. So, it was good to hear from him at that point. And, he was hoping the movement would grow, and it did grow. I know it kind of hit like a wall at some point. Or actually, President Trump ended up changing the narrative by calling them sons of bitches.
Fucking clown right there. But now he's coming out and changing his POV, saying that Kaep's arm strength wasn't as good. That's why he's not signed, which everybody, if you're a football fan, that's bullshit because Kaep can throw through a wall. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
That never made sense to me.
Ex-baseball player, come on.
That never made sense. If anything, he'd be throwing too hard. I'd be like, hey, just
relax.
that is a 5-yard hitch. Relax, Kaep. So, there's a calling for him to join a team now and have a team behind him. In your opinion, where do you feel like the best fit would be for Kaep? Where would you love to see him play?
You know what? I know people talking about he'd be lucky to be a backup. Man, I think he could start right now.
For sure.
Send him to New England.
Okay.
Send him to New England, man. And I know that's a whole little thing with the Patriots, patriotic, right? But a team that could use him right now is New England. Yeah. I think anywhere he would go, he would put somebody for that spot, man, honestly.
Of course, people like to forget that Kaep was, one pass away from helping the 49ers win the Super Bowl. So it's like, that wasn't that long ago. Final question for you, Brandon, is a two-parter. I want to know, first and foremost, how do you feel as a Black athlete in America? Yeah. And how do you feel as a Black man in America? Because I'm sure that feels like a two-part thing, because when you're in uniform and you're on that platform and you're playing, universal appeal, everybody loves you. But then when you step out of that, it's like your feelings and the things that affect you personally affect people that look like you. People tend to turn a blind eye. So is there ever a conflict, and how do you feel about that?
Yeah, you answered the question for me.
Right.
Right there, honestly, because, like I said, when I got my jersey on and my helmet and I'm entertaining these people, they love me. Oh, they're cheering for me. And also I take it with a grain of salt, because the minute you miss a tackle, most of the score a touchdown on you, they hate you, right? They're calling you all kind of names.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they love you, right? They look up to you. You're somebody who's like almost bigger than life. But then when you take that jersey off and you take that helmet off and just a man, right, at the very core of it, you have things you want to speak about and you have issues and concerns, in life, they kind of just dismiss it. Like, oh man, you just an athlete.
Yeah.
And they don't always say it, but I know they feel it. I know that's what they feel. I know that's what they think. So But it's not I can't sit here and try to, please everybody, and I can't sit here and let those thoughts affect me.
Yeah.
I gotta continue to push through, regardless of what someone else thinks. But as a Black man in America, I still feel like, they devalue us. I still feel like we're devalued as Black men in America. And, and like I said, people won't really understand until you take a walk in our shoes.
Right.
But that's just how it is. You still walk down the street, and then, ladies grab their purse, white ladies grab their purse, you know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff like that. And I don't know where this fear comes from of the Black man. Yeah. It's almost like, people fear us, and it's unfortunate, it's unfortunate. And, as an athlete, we get a pass for things, but, once we're done, and, they don't really care about us. And, we still have to fight for certain equalities within this life, and we do. So, it's an everyday struggle. It's an everyday thing that we got to continue to work through.
But honestly, Brandon, you're going to be on the right side of history. We're going to continue to look back on these moments in time, and we're going to, it's just going to make sense. We see it now. You guys were way on it back in 2016, and I hope you sign with a team. You need to sign with a team. And man, I really appreciate you stopping by and chopping it up with us, bro. I really do.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.